Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a little bit of a WE.Rock prep type video. This one doesn't need much. I've already nut and bolt checked it and everything. All it needs is a front main seal. It's leaking a little bit. I had an engine mount get bent a little bit and I hit the front oil pump and I busted it. So I put a new oil pump on it and the new front main seal leaks a little bit. So I'm gonna fix that, waiting on a couple parts. And then on this one, we have to do a full nut and bolt check, go through and finish like we got to weld all the tabs on for the body panels, get all the body panels painted and on the truck. We got a bunch of wiring to do and we have a radiator to swap out. So the original radiator we built for this truck was out of one of my cars, 86 Corolla, and it decided to spring a leak. So this is just a stock one. So it's super skinny. That was in a pinch and it's been working, but we want to have a setup that's for this and not out of one of my cars. So we got this radiator. It is a lot smaller, but a lot of buggy guys run it with boosted 4 cylinders. And so let's see if this works. It's a 2-core aluminum radiator with a 12-inch fan, I believe. So we've got to get this mounted, swap it out for this one, and then we'll have to redo a little bit of the hoses and whatnot, but that's not a huge deal. So let's see if we can get this thing in and hopefully it'll do its job and cool nicely. Also, this we'll have both of these rigs down at Fall Crawl and Grand Nationals in Farmington all week. We also have a booth for Fall Crawl, so we'll be down there all week. This video should be up Friday. We'll be heading down a couple days and we'll be there the whole week after this video's up. So come check us out, come say hi. Let's get to work. All right, we got the radiator drained. We're gonna pull the hoses off so that we can pull the radiator out. So with the old radiator out, we can start fitting the new one. So this radiator just had some studs on it. I have some bushings that fit right on the studs, and this tube goes right around the bushing. So instead of welding on new mounts, I'm just going to use what we got and make this happen. Well, nothing fancy, but it's a nice tight fit, so it should work. Allow it for a little bit of movement if need be too. So let's get this all mocked up back in there, and then we'll tack these in, pull the bushings out, weld them in, and figure out the top side. There's a quick upper mount, same style as the lower. A little bit different than I normally would do, but it works and it's using stuff we had and quick and easy. So I did 2 mounts here just to keep it from being able to twist back and forth. All right, so the radiator is mounted, fan's mounted, and it's wired up for the fan. We still got to do the hoses real quick, but got everything else stripped down off the whole truck and welded all the tabs out for the panels, and then did some painting on the panels. So real quick, we're gonna bounce from this one over back to mine and get this front main seal swapped out. All right, so I'm going to just try to lift the front. That way the oil goes to the back of the pan, and hopefully I can do this without dropping the pan. So that's the goal, is without removing the radiator, without dropping the pan. The radiator being V-mounted lets me, or gives me a lot more space on the crank bolt. So I should be able to get to all that. So let's see if it works. So I got the front end lifted up. It's just this little seal, but it's behind the crank and the timing belt. So we got to pull all that off to get to it. So we'll start with pulling all the belts and getting down there. So this is the timing belt with the on the crank here, and I've got to pull that off in order to get to the seal. It's right behind it. So I'm gonna have to redo all the timing, but that's okay. Pretty easy to do. So we'll loosen the tensioner real quick, and that will help me get some slack on the belt, and then we'll pull the lower gear. Alright, so all that came apart really easy. I did just replace this cover, and that is probably why normally that the timing sprocket does not come off that easy. You have to use the puller, but it came off pretty easy, and you can see right here that the seal is leaking. So we'll pull that one out and we will put the new one in. Well, looks like it's kind of hard to see, but there is a couple little nicks on here, so I'm going to try to smooth those out. Definitely not ideal, but I'm assuming that's what made the front main seal leak. So if we can smooth it out, hopefully we can get this thing to seal up. Alright, new front main seal is in, so now we got to put it all back together. Alright, so before we put the tensioner on, the belt's back on the pulley. We're going to check the timing on the cams as well. So on the cams, you got to make sure they're all still lined up, which this one is lined up. This one's going to be hard to see. I can see it though. And it's lined up. Belt's nice and tight. So now we can put the tensioner in, get that belt slack tightened up, and then put it back together. Alright, so this is all back together. I got to get the bracket for the battery cable, so that way, for the starter, so that way it doesn't ever hit the pulley. But just double check timing, and timing looks all good. So we just got to get the top end back together, and we can get the belts on and start this thing, see if it leaks. it out, gonna let it get to operating temperature. It only leaked when it was all the way at 1. So right now, no leaks, but we gotta wait till it gets warm. All right, operating temperature, fan's going, and right now, no leaks. So hopefully it stays that way. We're gonna let it run for a while and make sure. All right, we're gonna pull this one out and give it a wash. So we're going to build out these radiator hoses real quick. This hose fits pretty good, but we are going to use this as a sensor location to run a quick gauge. Obviously, as you remember, we did AN fittings, but we are just going to run it simple for now. So we're going to put that in to run a quick gauge, and then down the road we can change it all back to AN later. And that should work pretty good with a few hose clamps. All right, so for the lower hose, we have the bends we need. We may have to shorten this a little bit with a coupler. Not quite ideal, but it'll work. And that's how the lower turned out. All right, we got the radiator hoses all finished up and there is no leaks. We got it to operating temperature and the fan and radiator seems to be cooling perfectly. So now we're going to put this thing all back together and load it on the trailer.